All right, welcome to AP Biology, and let me just spend a few minutes here going over the class guidelines. First of all, congratulations if you've made it this far and found this page. You're on the right track. A little bit about me. My name is Mr. Meeker, and my email address is listed there, and make sure you keep that handy. You'll be using that several times throughout the year to turn in assignments and share documents with me. My school telephone number, 447-3239. It would be a way that parents could contact me during my prep time during the day. I do have my cell phone listed there as well. Use that diligently if you're working together with a study group and have a question at a reasonable time. Go ahead and send me a text. Otherwise, really late at night or other times, maybe be a little more use some discretion with that. The textbook we're using is called Biology: Life on Earth with Physiology, and you guys should have a copy of that by now. And then online, I want to make sure we talk about a couple of these websites. It'd be nice to be streamlined in one area, but certainly this Mastering Biology you're going to become particularly familiar with. You will have an online assignment through Mastering Biology for pretty much every chapter. But in addition to those assignments, there's a wealth of other study tools that I hope you find in the study area on that Mastering Biology website as well. One of those is your assignment for tonight as well. And then the second website listed there is my Google site for AP Biology. And again, you'll obviously have found that because you have found this lecture, but you'll be using that frequently when you miss and you need to figure out perhaps a worksheet or assignment that we've done. All of my video lectures for the chapter PowerPoints, and then also a number of other tools as well that you may find useful. My web page through the Linn-Mar school page, through the sort of staff directory, really will redirect you to one of the two other websites. There are a few other bits of information, say about the AP exam on there. A little bit about the course. AP Biology will cover some of the same content that General Biology, but certainly will go more in depth and require a higher level of study. AP Biology extends the content to a deeper level, focuses is particularly more on making connections between topics throughout the course, the unity of life, so we're really going to be making connections there. And also we'll probably ratchet up the scientific practices in our implementation of those. You will be expected to know content from previous chapters as it relates to a current topic, so we may be halfway through Unit 3, and on a test question it may refer back to some of the things we covered in Chapter 1. Again, that's fair game as we really are trying to build on our knowledge as opposed to just go through the content. Students always ask how much homework they're going to have. That question is really an unanswerable. I put 5 hours down there, but some will spend less time than that. Others will spend much more time than that. Sort of a rule of thumb is an hour homework per hour of class, but it really is very dependent on the individual learner. Some things I'll expect out of my students in this class: treat each other with respect, with patience, with courtesy. Just be a good person. We will follow all school rules. No hats, no cell phones. We'll keep food out of here. Things like that. I expect you to attend and participate in class every day. If absent, you need to make sure and see me about makeup work during early session. Please don't come ask 30 seconds before the bell rings what you missed the day before. I can't tell you what happened in 90 minutes in just 30 seconds. So see me in the early session. Make sure you take the opportunity to learn the vocabulary and facts as needed. We really are going to try to get to higher levels of understanding, but building that foundation is going to be essential. If you don't understand the vocabulary, if you don't understand the basics, we can't get to that higher level of understanding. Contribute to class discussions, ask clarifying questions. Again, I've had students in the past that can absorb so much content as they sit in class. But the norm is, if you're sitting there, more likely than not, you're going to get distracted by other things, tuning out. Make sure you're engaged in class. Ask those clarifying questions. If you don't know or you have a question, there's a good chance that others around you also have similar type questions. So be sure to ask. That also helps us focus class time where it's needed. If nobody's asking questions, I just, go where I hope that you guys need to go. So make sure you're asking those questions. We can really make learning most effective. Be engaged in laboratories and the write-ups for those laboratories. I'm always surprised when we get done with a laboratory and students don't quite get why we did that. From my perspective, it seems obvious. I have to realize from a student's perspective, it's not always so obvious. So make sure you're asking those questions if you don't know how this connects back to the content, because every single lab activity we do has a purpose behind it. So know how it connects back into the classroom content and why we're doing that activity. And then finally, make sure you complete daily assignments, whether it be reading the textbook, whether it be watching a video, completing the lab, maybe a larger project, answering questions. It really is easier to keep up than it is to catch up. I will really take effort to make sure you have opportunities to have advanced notice on assignments. I realize that most students that take upper level classes are also very busy students, and so rarely am I going to give you just a day's notice, on a consistent basis. It'll probably happen once in a while, but for the most part, you should have advanced notice when things are coming up. So if you know you're going to be busy on Wednesday night, make sure you get the homework that's due for Thursday done on Tuesday, and you'll have that knowledge ahead of time. So again, it's easier to keep up than it is to catch up. And make sure you're taking responsibility for your own learning. Okay, by the time you're upper level students, I really am not going to be going through parents as much as I'm going to be going through you. You need to take responsibility and get the work done that needs to get done. Okay, what is my responsibility? First and foremost, I need to facilitate a positive and safe classroom environment. I want you guys to feel comfortable in here, and that's going to provide the best learning environment. And that doesn't mean providing lounge chairs. That means providing a place where you feel safe and you feel like you can take maybe some risks, ask some questions, you can provide some answers without fear of being made fun of or any sort of reaction by other students. And so you'll do the same for other students, and we'll work on that together. I'm going to provide some activities that facilitate the learning. I can't force feed you this stuff. I can give you opportunities to learn it, and then it's your responsibility to learn that. I'm going to assist in the learning process for individual students and the class as a whole, particularly when you let me know where you're at. Come ask questions. I need to make sure that we're organized and prepared for class, so we're not just wasting class time at any given time. We really have a lot to get done, and we need to keep on our pace. And then do my best at giving you appropriate feedback on your learning progression, how you're progressing there. This class will be graded as the following scale here. Exams, tests will be worth 40%, basically one exam per unit. Content knowledge, including daily assignments, projects, activities, 20% of your grade. Labs will be weighted at 30% of your grade, and then employability skills at 10%. And that's goes a little bit beyond classroom participation. I'm not necessarily going to count the number of times you're raising your hand in class, but are you doing what needs to be done and being successful at being a student? And I'll give you some more details about that very soon. And then finally, this year we're going to give you an opportunity to earn 3% bonus credit for doing all the vocabulary words. So if you do less than every chapter, you'll get less than 3% bonus. But if you do every chapter's bonus or every chapter's vocab, then you'll get 3% bonus at the end of the quarter. A couple other pieces of information. We will have a final exam during fourth quarter only. We will not have a final exam this first semester. All students take the final exam. We use it as a practice exam for the AP exam this spring, so it's not actually during finals time. It's actually in May. The AP Biology class is a weighted class for your LMR GPA, and the other thing about the AP exam, the AP Biology exam, it is offered on May 9th. I believe the exam still costs $87, but that may have changed. It allows you to earn college credit at many colleges depending on your score. If you get a 2, you won't get credit. 3, some colleges give credit for that, and then 4s and 5s generally earn college credit. Now the nice thing about that is that if you earn several college credits, you're saving yourself hundreds of dollars in the end, and progressing closer to college graduation. Your grade in this class is not in any way dependent on the AP exam. I won't have your AP scores back until midsummer, and so there's no way I can base any of your grade on whether or not you took the exam, let alone how well you did on the exam. However, I do strongly encourage you to take the exam. I think after going through this class, you should be prepared for the exam, and it does provide some benefits for you. Okay, the 4 big ideas in biology. Big idea number 1, the process of evolution drives the unity and diversity of life. Nothing in biology makes sense except for in light of evolution, and that's sort of a famous saying, and really you're going to see that tied throughout the entire class. The second thing you're going to be focusing on, and we're going to be tying into pretty much everything we do, is that biological systems utilize free energy and molecular building blocks to grow, to reproduce, and to maintain dynamic homeostasis. Sort of the fundamentals of life there, and then understanding that energy ties into that. Living things use and obtain energy, obtain and use energy to do the things they need to do to maintain life. Big idea number 3 is that living systems store, retrieve, transmit, and respond to information essential to life processes. Really that's saying you have to understand some genetics and how genetics ties into the rest of biology. And then finally, biological systems interact, and these systems and their interactions possess complex properties. And so the interactions of, say, molecules to cells, or cells to tissues, various levels of biology, all the way up to ecosystems, have these increasing complex properties as you go through, and we'll be focusing on that as well. Okay, so that brings our class guidelines to a conclusion. One last thing there. As I mentioned in class, there will be a quiz over this video lecture. Don't worry, first of all, it's not graded, but you can be sure to get every answer right because you've watched this whole video, and I'm telling you that every answer on that quiz will be C. Just do me a favor, keep it honest, don't share this information with classmates who didn't watch this video. The only reason for that is I just want to know who actually was able to find this website, spent the time to watch the video. So, thank you, and we'll see you in class.